Everyone has a story, and so does everything, antique, vintage, or curio.
I've seen only a very few of them, usually in top collections or in auctions. It's not common to find them online or things of that nature.
Like, we've had collections that have sold for, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Technological innovations, cultural significance, personal memories. What is it that gives each of these unique items their timeless quality?
Can't find these anywhere.
No.
Join us as we blow off the dust and breathe new life into the past and the curious. Today on The Past and the Curious, we look at a vintage bread maker, an antique washing tub bench, and a signed jersey from the 2006 Team Canada Women's Hockey Olympic champions. Bruce checks out a Team Canada jersey signed by the entire 2006 women's hockey gold medal winning team.
This item was an autographed Team Canada jersey, autographed by members of the gold medal winning women's hockey team from Torino, Italy in 2006. What I liked about it, nothing silk screened, all crested on and sewn, and in very, very good shape.
Case looks at a wash tub table made by the iconic Beatty Brothers Company.
This setup would have really helped in the mundane chore of doing laundry. This washing setup is a natural link in the progression of washing technology.
Sandy examines a well-loved hand-cranked bread dough mixer.
I remember her making that bread, and she was just a short little British lady, and the smell of bread in the house was remarkable. Absolutely a brilliant memory. Hi, my name is Neville McKay from Halifax, and I brought a beautiful antique bread maker from the early 1900s. This bread maker brings back so many memories for me. As a child, to have my mother make bread several times a week, making that bread, and the smell of bread in the house was remarkable. Absolutely a brilliant memory.
The Universal Bread Maker No. 8, introduced in 1906 by Landers, Frary & Clark, revolutionized home bread making. This innovative device eliminated the need for labor-intensive kneading, making freshly baked bread more accessible, especially for larger families, as it could produce between 4 to 10 loaves at a time. This product was a response to the growing demand for simpler kitchen solutions, marking a significant shift in kitchen technology before the widespread introduction of electrical appliances. Landers, Frary & Clark, established in 1842 by George Landers, specialized in creating products that simplified everyday life. Their range included items like the Universal Food Chopper and the Coffee Percolator, both designed to enhance kitchen efficiency. In 1965, most of the company was acquired by J.B. Williams Company and General Electric. The Universal Bread Maker No. 8 reflects an era when American households were beginning to embrace innovations that would fundamentally shape domestic life, symbolizing a significant period of transformation in American homes where convenience and simplicity became important within kitchen design and functionality.
Neville, thank you for coming on the show today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've brought in with you?
This, my friend, is an antique bread maker from circa 1900, 1907. It revolutionized making bread.
So how did this miraculous revolution in bread technology come into your possession, Neville?
My mom got this when she got married back in the 40s. It was used at the time, of course, didn't matter, because it still made great bread, brilliant bread, and I've got such memories of that being made into bread.
And
beautiful.
Do you use this to make bread yourself, Neville?
No, I do not. But I've had many, many loaves of bread made with these machines. It's brilliant.
So yes, it's sort of really just a tin bucket, and then it has a big dough hook like you would see on a mixer of today.
Absolutely.
Bread making itself goes back about 10,000 years from what we see, and that's from records in the Middle East and Jordan. It's quite a tradition that you're a part of now.
I guess so. So people relied on bread for pretty much their entire meals, didn't they?
Oh, exactly. I mean, if you go back to sort of the Middle Ages and around that time, it would have been like 80% of people's caloric intake would have been from bread.
Still is with me.
And that's sort of slowly declined throughout time to now. We really sort of have the lowest levels of our caloric intake coming from bread than we did at any other time in history, really. This maker, the Universal line, they made a number of different types of appliances, but the bread maker was sort of their biggest invention. So they were quite common at the time. During wartime, things like this got melted down. So they're not rare as hen's teeth, but you don't see as many of them as you certainly would have when they were new and being used within the home.
Tell me a bit about it, or where it came from, or how it started.
Sure. So the Universal line was a line of many different kitchen appliances that were coming out in the latter half of the 19th century. They were produced out of New Britain, Connecticut. This was a company that traced its roots back to the first half of the 19th century. They had originally started making sort of all variety of metalwares, including casters and things like that. Then they had moved into home kitchen appliances. Now, something like this would have been bought by sort of two groups of people. It would have either been bought by sort of that up-and-coming middle class that we see in the Victorian era. Of course, the Victorians were sort of obsessed with gadgetry, and they loved all that sort of thing. Or it could have been bought as well by someone, or by the household of a wealthier individual, and sort of used in those kitchens downstairs. This isn't something that would have been bought by sort of the working class and so on. They, of course, would have continued to be making bread, just kneading it by hand and so on. So this certainly would have been somewhat of a luxury at the time it's coming out. It's sort of that same sort of Victorian story of evolution and increasing technology.
Whatever happened to the company? Is it still around? What's going on with this company that makes this glorious, glorious, revolutionary thing?
No, they're not still around, and part of the problem was that this sort of thing only remained revolutionary so long. So going into the 1960s, their technology sort of started to be a bit more outdated, and they weren't able to keep up with the competition. So Universal ended up being sold off, and that brand is now not something we see today, of course. So Neville, what space does this bread maker occupy in your home?
Well, like a lot of things back in the day, it sits in a closet sometimes, and every once in a while it comes out. I dust it off a little bit and have a good memory, a good thought about it. Put it out, sort of smile at it, maybe take a picture with it and put it back away.
So it very much takes you back to that time of your mother making the bread as a child, does it?
Oh my dear man, it really does. It's such a journey back to when I was a child, and she would make that bread and that table would squeak, and then that she would put that in the wood oven, and the fragrance in that bread would be remarkable. There's nothing better than that smell of homemade bread coming out of a wood stove. Absolutely glorious. So it just brings me back to a very special, very loving, very intimate time that I had with my mother.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
So do you think you'd ever sell this, Neville?
No. No, this is mine, this is my memory, and I'm gonna keep it as long as I possibly can. It's too special to me to sell for any value.
In a retail setting, I can see something like this making around $150, something like that, in that area.
Is that so? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, I'm keeping it, it's mine. It could be $1,000. I'm keeping it because it's worth more than a dollar value.
Oh, absolutely. That memory and taking it back to your mother in that kitchen
Absolutely.
must be invaluable to you.
It certainly is. To spend time with someone who is genuinely interested in what I've got to show, I really, really appreciate that.
What's your plan for it going forward?
Well, I might just give it a scrub up and make bread now that we've talked about it enough, because I think it's a fun thing. I might just do that and get some exercise at the same time. Burn a few points on Weight Watchers and make some bread at the same time.
Oh, that would be lovely. You'll have to send a loaf my way.
We'll see.
I thought that the bread making machine was a really interesting look back at that sort of early move towards mechanization that we can see coming out of the Victorian era. It's something that's sort of a wonderfully tangible remnant of that time. Thanks for coming on the show today, Neville.
Thanks for having me, Sandy.
Coming up on The Past and the Curious.
The early 1930s, the Beatty Company added their vertical agitator, and they were the first company to do that. And today, we still use that agitator.
My name is Don Rosignol, and I brought in a bath station from 1923. I found it in an antique barn, and a friend of mine and I have a competition of old antiques, and he has an old railway station table. So when I saw this, I thought, fit right in.
Throughout the early 1900s, Canadian women burdened with managing the never-ending endless laundry list of household chores were aided in part by the commodities produced and sold by Beatty Brothers Limited. Founded by brothers George and Matthew in 1874, Beatty Brothers Limited began manufacturing and selling high-quality agricultural equipment in Fergus, Ontario. By the 1920s, they were the leading producer of farming equipment in Canada. Seeing an opportunity to diversify their consumer group, Beatty Brothers started producing washing machines and laundry accessories in the 1910s and 20s. These products were marketed primarily to women who, at the time, were expected to keep the home clean and orderly. These washing machines, which Beatty Brothers would continue to innovate upon and would ultimately electrify, reduced the time and effort required by women to keep their family looking fresh and clean. Studies have some theorists suggesting that the washing machine was a key factor in women's liberation. Beatty Brothers was acquired by General Steel Wares Limited in the 1960s, leaving behind a legacy of engineering excellence and inadvertently helping to level the playing field for North American women.
Well, thanks for coming in today, Don. What did you bring us today?
This is a bath stand from 1923. Don't know a lot about them, but it's in great shape, and I found it in a antique barn. This was there, and I think, if I remember right, about 18 years ago, and I paid 20 bucks for it.
What stood out about this?
I needed a coffee table. My friend and I started out trying to outdo each other with antiques. I saw this and thought, hey, this would be perfect, especially being from 1923.
Perfect size and height for a coffee table.
Yeah.
Well, what we have here is a laundry station. It's folding, so it's compact, so when you're done use, it can be folded up and put away. There would have been 2 large galvanized tubs, one on either side, and possibly a wringer in the middle. So you would have your dirty laundry soaking on one side, run it through the wringer, probably rinse it out in the cleaner water tub. That would be your process for doing laundry. These would have came out in the earlier part of the 1920s. These would have been used in everyday life washing laundry well into the 30s, probably even the 40s. On this side, we can see the Beatty Brothers Limited from Fergus, Ontario. And on this side, BT Tub Bench, patented 1923.
That's interesting because I never realized it was for laundry table. I always thought it was for bathing babies.
Well, I'm sure the odd baby would have been bathed on this stand as well. Basically, there would have been 2 large tubs and a contraption in the middle that would have consisted of 2 rollers and a crank on the side to squeeze the water out.
An old wringer.
Yeah. The Beatty Brothers were very well known for their innovations in farm tools. They were a predominant employer in Ontario, and they're probably best known for their washing machines. The Beatty company was quite a conservative company. They wanted their workers to go to church. They wanted them not to drink. They really shut any things like that down. If you were a troublemaker, you were gone. On the other hand, they really supported their employees. But they didn't support them with good wages. They were quite low paid, but they kind of made up for it in other ways a little bit. So their core employee group, they were quite loyal. Around 1912, they really started focusing on laundry and laundry accessories. And then in 1923, they came out with this bench.
Are the Beatty Brothers still in business?
They are not. They have actually quite a long history. It was just a little while ago, a couple of decades, that they finally went out of business. They survived World War II quite well because of a lot of their business strategies. They were able to get back into the manufacturing of appliances after they had retrofitted for the war effort. In the end, they actually ended up mainly focusing on hot water tanks, believe it or not.
So would there be a lot of these benches around?
It's a fairly common item. They were extremely well made, as you can see. They're made out of high quality woods. They used nice heavy metal fixtures. The wheels were solid on. They were built to last. So you find these quite regularly folded up in basements, attics, or in barns. This tub bench was one of the hundreds of products that they were offering at the time. By the 1930s, they had over 300 patents and about 600 items that were available for sale.
So what made them such a success in the 30s?
They were quite innovative. They would look at existing products, they would see how they could make them better, they would identify what the shortfalls of those, and they would go from there. They had a laboratory where they were constantly testing and working on making these new items better. Part of their success was due to their marketing angle. They were capitalizing on the fact that it was a time-saving device. Washing used to be a whole-day event, so anything that you could do to shorten that time would be beneficial. So they would market this, and you would buy an item, and you would get an extra item in with it. They offered a complete washing outfit to help mother on washing day, or so the newspaper ad said in 1929. They were also on the leading edge of the buy one, get one free. You would buy something and you'd be able to pick out an extra item to go with it. So say you bought this laundry stand, you would possibly be able to get a drying rack with it or something.
So you don't see a lot of these around anymore?
Well, Not being used for laundry anyway. They are in a lot of laundry rooms. People buy them because they look so good, and if they're doing up their laundry room, they like to have some nice old laundry implements. Doing laundry was a major job, so any innovations were quickly adopted and welcomed. This laundry bench would have really helped reduce that load of that arduous task. So Don, what space does this occupy in your house?
For me, it's a coffee table. I think with the glass top on it, it looks good, serves a purpose.
Without a glass top, this definitely wouldn't make a very good coffee table.
No, I'd probably drop the odd beer.
Oh yes. Give me something like this any day. If you go to one of the big box stores and buy one of those composition wood coffee tables, 2 years, that one has character that you won't want. 100 years later, this one will still have great character. Do you think you'd ever part with it?
Unless somebody made the right offer.
Looking at the value of a piece like this, it has a really nice patina. It's in good structural shape, just a nice overall piece. I would put the value of this particular one in my shop at about $125.
At that price, it'll go to the granddaughters.
I think that's really nice. Keep it in the family and let them enjoy it for, years to come. I really enjoyed having the wash tub bench in today. It's a cool piece of everyday life way back then, and it plays an important role in Don's life today. Well, thanks for bringing this wonderful piece of Beatty Brothers laundry history.
Thanks for having me. Because of the way it's made, it's held up a lot better than anything I can go out and buy today.
We don't see a lot of these tub benches today being used for laundry. We see them as decor items. They're nice little functional stands that, will fill up a neat corner. The way that Don uses it as a coffee table, that's a perfect example.
Something like this stands out, and it's something that my granddaughters are going to enjoy for the rest of their life.
Coming up on The Past and the Curious.
I was shocked when I saw this artifact because I was there, and it brought me back to that time. I knew all of these players, I know all of the coaches. This was perfect symbiosis for me.
Hi, my name is Jeff Thurber, and I brought in a 2006 autographed women's Team Canada hockey jersey. Being the jersey collector that I am, this is definitely the #1 jersey I have. It makes me appreciate women's hockey even more than I already did.
In 2002, the Canadian women's hockey team carved their names into sports history by clinching their first Olympic gold in women's hockey at the Salt Lake City Winter Olympics. This victory marked the Canadian team's rise to prominence in a sport where they had faced stiff international competition since its Olympic inception in 1998. Key players on this legendary team, including Hayley Wickenheiser, renowned as one of the greatest female hockey players of all time, and Cassie Campbell, the star team captain, played pivotal roles. The stellar performances of teammates like Caroline Ouellette and goalie Kim St-Pierre propelled the team to victory. This jersey is more than a piece of sports memorabilia. It represents how one team can captivate a nation. The team's triumph was a watershed moment for women's hockey in Canada, inspiring a new generation of female athletes and cementing the team's status as legends in Canadian sports lore.
Welcome, Jeff, to the program. What are we looking at right here?
We are looking at a jersey of the Team Canada women's autographed 2006.
These are the players who played for the gold medal winning team in 2006 in Torino. How did you come up with this?
I was kind of a freak. My wife and I were yard sailing, and it just happened to jump out at me. I'm a jersey collector, and I just seen the jersey arm sticking out of a pile of clothes. I reached in and grabbed it, and that's what I pulled out.
What did you get it for?
$2.
A toonie?
Yes.
Come on.
I told my wife, start the car.
That's right. We're getting out of here with this. Yeah.
Yes, I must admit that I definitely got it for a steal, but you were over there, so maybe you could tell me more about it.
Yeah, I was in Torino in 2006 calling these women who played such remarkable hockey. I really like this. This is real crests right here. They're not silkscreen, they're real. It feels like a legitimate Team Canada jersey, and you can see the legendary names on here. Cassie Campbell, who was the captain. Hayley Wickenheiser, who I think is the greatest female hockey player to ever play the game.
I agree.
Danielle Goyette, who's a member of the Hockey Hall of Fame. Caroline Ouellette, who was a remarkable power forward, great player for Canada in 2006. Defenseman Cheryl Pounder, who's gone on to a great career as a commentator on TSN. And Jana Heffert, who's one of the best goal scorers ever to play the women's game. This is signed by many Canadian legends, many of whom obviously played for Canada in 2006. In terms of the quality of the jersey, it's in tremendous shape. So you mentioned I was there in 2006. This photo right here was taken 10 minutes after Team Canada left the ice after winning gold. That's Hayley Wickenheiser, who led the tournament in scoring, was the MVP. I just loved her as a player, and I wanted the picture, so we got that done, and she signed it later. She put Runaway Freight Train because I had called her that in an earlier game in the tournament, thinking it was a compliment. She had to think about whether it was, but she eventually came around to my line of thinking, so there it is. Canadian national women's team was founded in 1987. Women first played in the Olympics in 1998 in Nagano. The U.S. won that gold, by the way. There's been 7 times they've competed for gold at the Olympics, women, and the Canadians have won 5. The U.S. have won 2. This team in 2006, it was such a beautiful mix of veterans and these hungry rookies. I think this was the best female team ever assembled in the history of the sport. In Torino, they were undefeated through the round robin. They did not play the U.S. in the final. The U.S. were upset. It was a huge upset by Sweden. So Canada played Sweden in the final. They won the game 4-1, and they celebrated like crazy on that ice in Torino, Italy. What was interesting about Wickenheiser, there were rumblings before the tournament began that she was no longer the best female hockey player in the world. Once it began, she put those rumblings to rest. She dominated these Olympic Games. And so when we got that picture taken, it was 10 minutes after they win gold. She takes off her glove and there's a cast. I learned right then she played those Olympics and dominated those Olympics with a fractured wrist. Made the story even better.
And who is eligible to play on Team Canada?
I think it's the toughest team in the world to make. I really do. You have thousands of young women playing hockey in this country. You have to be 18 years old or 16 years old with a medical exemption. And so I mentioned earlier that this team was made up of a lot of players over the age of 30 and a couple of key players who were just 18 years old. That's why it was so special. What role does this really cool item play in your man cave?
I have a picture of the 2016 men's hockey team. I have the 2014 men's jersey, and this just fits in perfectly. How rare is a jersey like this?
I would say extremely. First of all, that roster was only together once for one Olympic Games, so there's that. I would guess that the team probably sat down and signed, let's say, 100 of these before the games began. So you think 17 years have passed and maybe there's 100 in existence? That's rare. Well, Jeff, this has been real fun talking about this particular artifact. What is your plan for this moving forward?
I'm probably going to put it back on the nail in my man cave. That's probably where it's going to stay.
Do you think there's an amount of money that would get it out of your man cave?
Everything is for sale, but no, I don't want to get rid of it. What would you say it was worth?
It's tough because you'd have to photo match all the signatures. I know they're all real. There's no certificate of authenticity, but the jersey is in great shape. This is the 2006 roster. If you were in the right room with the right crowd at the right auction, I think this would be worth $1,500 maybe in the proper room. I think you'd get for something as cool and unique as this.
So it was a good $2 investment.
It's appreciated nicely. Yes, indeed. Women's hockey in 2006, a big sport at the Olympic Games. Canada was favored going in along with the U.S. Canada wound up playing Sweden in the gold medal game and lived up to its reputation as the hockey power. And these were the players that brought home gold for Canada. Jeff, a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for bringing by this real piece of Canadian hockey history. This was a great team. This is a really neat jersey.
Thank you for touching up on things that I wasn't sure of, and also the great job you done in Toronto, 2006.
I kind of think this is what this show's all about. Some guy finds it in a pile in Truro for $2, and he's unearthed a little gem. I loved it, and you can match photographically all of those signatures. This was signed by every member of the 2006 Canadian women's team. It's a really neat piece. Jeff, thanks for coming on the program today.
And thank you for having me.